Thank you.
Thank you, David. That's another new one for me. So I'm excited to hear a new song that I didn't know before. All right, now. Okay. So Keith last week told me that he could hear me rattling my papers. So I'm doing something different today in hopes that I don't make noise in front of my microphone, which I didn't know where it was. So I found my microphone and I'm trying not to rattle papers. It's a learning curve for all of us. So thank you for joining us online today. For those of you who came back from last week, welcome back. For those of you joining us for the first time, I trust that you're finding it a worthwhile reason to spend some time with this group. These are most interesting times we find ourselves in, and we all have options on how we see this time and how we use this time. So today's talk, In As and Through Me, gives us a place to work from when we think about how we choose to be in the world right now. And I'll start by talking about James, the writer of this month's home study book, Into the Magic Shop. It seems like decades ago since we started this book study. I know 40 or more people have actually read it, and many have at least started in a discussion group about it. If you don't have it and have the ability to get a hold of it, download it, and read ebooks, I still recommend it strongly. James introduces himself early in the book as a kid from the wrong side of the tracks with no possibility of a better life. There's a quote attributed to Seneca the Younger, one of the Greek Stoic philosophers, one of the dead Greek guys, as I like to say. Obviously, he didn't say it. It goes like this: luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. You need to buy a ticket to win the lottery. You need to put yourself in a position to have luck. James gets what could be perceived as a couple of lucky breaks, but mostly he follows some hunches that he has and continuously does the mental work that he knows to get what he believes himself capable of having. He does run into a really good teacher who shows him how to tame his own mind. And he also takes every single one of the physical steps that appear in front of him that support his vision for the life that he chooses to have. And like many high-flying, super successful people, he forgets that it isn't about what you have or what you do. It's about who you are and how you interact with others in your world that gives you the quality of life that you desire. Clearly, he was hungry for a different life. And because he used every single opportunity he had, more and more good opened up for him. One of the delightful awarenesses I have had in the past couple of weeks has been that even though the world we wake up in each morning is quite different than it was even the day before, and different quite often than we would like it to be, we each have the opportunity to create a different experience in our days. That double-edged sword is choice. Where we choose to focus our attention, how we choose to use our time, talent, energy, and opportunity determines the quality of our experience. I've quoted Charles Fillmore before from his book, Keeping the True Lent. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I face my fear. I permit it to pass over me and through me, but not take hold of me. And when it has gone past, I turn the inner eye to see the path where the fear has gone. There will be nothing, only I will remain. It's not what happens to us that paralyzes us. It's always the thoughts we have about those experiences and the stories we make up about them. I have a friend in Texas who called me yesterday, kind of out of the blue. She runs a 100-acre animal rescue and sanctuary on a ranch about an hour northwest of Houston. She was rescuing a horse this past week and learned, after the fact, that the woman who relinquished the horse had the viral pneumonia and may have shared it with her. Now she's quarantined herself on the ranch for a couple of weeks so she doesn't share what she might have with others, just in case she's now a carrier. She called me because she wanted to know the particulars of how to use Zoom so she could continue interacting with the people that mattered to her. For the most part, those of us currently participating in the CSLT daily spiritual practice calls are finding opportunities to open up, engage more, share more, and connect more while staying perfectly safe and sequestered at home. We continue to remember to operate from that center of peace, that is the divine present already existing within us, when we stop with the fearful stories and stand in the truth of our being. So what is the truth of our being? Wholeness and health. That's what it is. The truth of our being is that part of us that doesn't get pulled down the vortex of fear when we hear that our friend may have been infected. That part of us that doesn't immediately rise up in righteous indignation, argument, or anger when somebody does or doesn't act the way we think they should, or when we think they should know better and they're still doing the wrong thing, or somehow we think their action or inaction makes us look bad or in any way less capable. So that's what today's talk is about. It's about choosing and persisting in choosing to be that divine expression living in, as, and through each of us, and staying on point with that truth in the face of lots of static and noise and opportunities to lose our way. Today's spiritual thought, which I read earlier from Dr. Ernest Holmes' 365 Science of Mind, page 91, I'll read it again and continue to the rest of the paragraph. Today, I expect a more abundant life. I keep my whole mind, thought, and expectation open to new experiences, to happier events, to a more complete self-expression. Giving out more love, I expect greater love in return. Sharing with others whatever good things I have, I expect all of life to share with me the good that it possesses. Seeing beauty everywhere, I expect a revelation of still more beauty. Seeing joy in everything, I expect more laughter. More densely sensing that divine quality, tranquility, in which all things exist, I expect a deeper consciousness of peace and security. Through it all, I feel that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence, forever seeking an outlet through me. So how do we move ourselves into that space of divine tranquility? And how do we stay there? If you were here for Shelley's meditation earlier, you got a taste of a way. But I want to read you a little piece of a 2012 interview in Forbes magazine that author Robert Greene wrote about the qualities of mastery. He's a business guy and he writes about business mastery, but it's the same if we're talking about spiritual mastery. Mastery is not something genetic or for a lucky few. It's something we can all attain if we get rid of some misconceptions and gain clarity as to the required path. The secret ingredients are desire and time. We all know how much more deeply we learn when we're motivated. If a subject excites us, if it stirs our deepest curiosity, or if we have to learn, Because the stakes are high, we pay more attention. What we absorb sinks in. In other words, our level of focus will determine our depth of learning. If we can multiply such deep concentration over enough time, we can master anything. So what do we have more of right now than we have had in a very long time? I hope you're smiling. Time. I think this is the most luscious of all gifts, and it may take us a while to settle into the fact that we do have time. Time to think, time to do spiritual practice, time to read, time to decide what's actually ours to do and what isn't. I believe these are early gifts of this period of isolation. We also have the opportunity to sort out for ourselves the differences between compassionate action and just feeling sorry or pitiful about a situation, and consider how we can best serve ourselves and others. One exciting and powerful gift that I've seen in this time that we've had separate from each other is that we have each had to move from being passive consumers with little or no investment in receiving what we desire to active participants in order to get what we want, in order to interact with each other at all. Congratulations to each of you who has learned enough technology to be here on Zoom today, or to participate in the daily spiritual practices, either ours or ones that are hosted by others, or have hunted down the free concerts that are happening all over the web. For people who are technophobic or just technical novices, that took and continues to take stamina and determination. Probably the most profound gift, for me anyway, is the recognition of the value of our interpersonal connections. Do you know I'm missing being able to stand in the line at Starbucks? It's crazy, because I'm not a particularly social person, but I notice that I miss being in the same space with other people. And so when we finally are able to do that again, it's going to be so tremendously awesome. And the foundations class that's going on right now will finish online, though no one is particularly happy about it. The in-person connection is so different when you're actually not sharing snacks in the break room at the education center. And even still, we have a choice to hide in fear or engage in love. And that choice presents itself every single moment of every single day. So I'm going to close with a story. You've probably heard it before. It's the story of the two wolves. It's supposed to have originated with the native peoples, and it may have, I don't know. But it's still a good story. This young man was talking to his grandfather about the inner conflict he was having. He said, "Grandfather, it's like I have two wolves inside me. The one wolf wants to do the right thing and wants to be helpful and wants to be kind and engage positively. And the other one wants to be selfish and wants to just take what I have and run and hide and not share. And how do I make the right wolf win?" And the grandfather looks at him and says, "Everyone has two wolves, grandson. The wolf wins is the wolf that wins is the wolf that you feed. So the wolf that you feed, kindness or selfishness, caring or separateness, fear or love, we get to decide which wolf to feed and support that decision with our intentions, our awareness, our decisions, and our actions. So please consider your own quality of life and how you wish to share it and explore it and experience it. And do those things that give you the best quality of life you can manage. And I would bet that includes connecting with others, whether phone or just across the fence, keeping track of that physical distancing that seems to be useful right now. Do that. Bless yourself and bless us all. Thank you. So now I'm going to move into this community prayer, and I'd like you to consider how you choose to live, how you choose to engage, how you choose to experience this thing called life, and the point of view you wish to hold, the perception you wish to have. And take a breath while I speak the words. I bless this day. I bless this gathering of beloveds over space and time. I bless this opportunity to be reminded of the spiritual truths that each one already knows. I bless this opportunity to remember. I know that divine presence lives, moves, and has its being as all of life. And I know it expresses through and as and in every single person who sees and hears these words, and every single person who doesn't, whether they know it or not. And I know that presence and power and peace and poise and joy and love has a divine expression, has that possibility and potentiality of a greater yes, a greater good, a greater positive experience, open to each of us at every moment. So I claim that awareness and that realization, and I claim for myself and for each who chooses to have that experience in my present reality. So I bless this awareness, I bless this day, I bless this gathering and each one, each beloved who is part of it. I know this as divinely appointed, divinely guided, and totally blessed. I rest in these words, and so it is.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in